Why pay the price? Why work this hard? Why go this far? Why try to learn this much? Why try to do it all? Why try to earn as much as you can earn, share as much as you can share, develop every skill you possibly can, see every human you possibly can?
You plan, visualize, feel productive, and still your life feels like it is not moving forward. As long as you spend 95% of your time thinking, you will fail. Because thinking replaces doing, and it feels like progress. That is what makes it so dangerous. It does not feel like avoidance. It does not feel like procrastination. It often feels responsible, reflective, and productive. But ask yourself, has anything actually moved forward? Here is the brutal truth. Your life is not changed by what feels productive. It is changed by what is actually done. There is something deeply deceptive about the human mind. It can simulate progress so vividly that you walk away feeling accomplished without having done anything at all. You plan, you imagine, you visualize outcomes, you organize your thoughts, you think through every angle, you prepare mentally again and again, convincing yourself that you are getting closer. And when you are done, there is a subtle satisfaction, a quiet voice that tells you something meaningful just happened. It says, that was productive. But nothing in your life has actually moved. Nothing external has changed. No action has been taken. No behavior has shifted. No result has been created. This is where many people get stuck. Not in laziness, but in a convincing imitation of progress. That is why this pattern is so dangerous.
We joined because we believed. We stayed because we were committed. We left because we were disillusioned. But we came back because we were lost. Without a dream, we are nothing.
The feeling of progress can replace the need for real progress. Once your brain feels like you have already done something, your urgency begins to disappear. The tension that should push you into action fades. You become comfortable thinking about change instead of committing to change. That is the trap. Thinking feels like movement, but it produces no movement. Over time, this becomes a habit. You stay mentally busy while your life stays physically still. You become active in thought and passive in reality. And the longer this continues, the harder it becomes to notice. Because your mind stays occupied, you can go a long time without realizing that you are standing in the exact same place. Sound familiar? Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you said, I'm working on it, I've been thinking about that, or I'm planning to start soon? Millions of people say I'm working on it every day and stay exactly where they are. These statements sound reasonable. They sound like progress. But in reality, what have you been doing? Thinking, talking, preparing, not acting. That distinction matters more than most people admit. A person can spend weeks discussing their next move, researching possibilities, and setting intentions, yet still remain stuck because nothing has been translated into behavior. The mind creates a sense of involvement, but involvement is not the same as execution. Until something is done, life remains the same. Quick test. What is one action you have been delaying? That one thing you keep postponing, that is where your real progress begins. Thinking has value. Planning has value. Reflection has value. But only when these things lead to action. If they do not lead to action, they become postponement disguised as productivity. That is what makes them so deceptive. You may see yourself as someone who is improving, someone who is growing, someone who is serious about change. But your actions may be telling a completely different story. When your self-image says one thing while your behavior says another, a dangerous gap begins to grow. You believe you are becoming someone different, but your daily life is still shaped by the same habits, the same choices, and the same routines. And that gap does not stay small. It expands quietly over time. Imagination can be powerful, but it can also become an escape. You picture a better future, better habits, more discipline, more confidence, more control, better results. At first, that image motivates you. It pushes you to want more from yourself. But over time, something changes. Instead of using that image to guide your next step, you begin revisiting it just to feel better. You start using imagination as a replacement for effort. You experience the emotional reward without paying the practical price. And slowly, desire disconnects from discipline. You still want the result, but the connection between wanting it and working for it becomes weaker. Now understand this clearly. The problem is not usually a lack of knowledge, ability, or clarity. Most people already know more than enough to begin. They know where they are falling short. They know what habits are holding them back. They know what they should be doing differently. The real problem is the gap between what you think about and what you actually do. That is where your results are decided. Not in your intentions, not in your plans, not in your awareness, but in your actions. Your life responds to behavior, not potential. Your life changes when your repeated choices begin to change, not when your thoughts become more sophisticated. Another subtle trap is the myth of the perfect moment. People keep waiting. They wait for more clarity, better timing, stronger confidence, less stress, more certainty, a cleaner starting point. But clarity does not come before action. It comes from action. You understand more after you begin than before you begin. The act of moving reveals what needs adjustment. The act of trying teaches what thinking alone never can. Waiting feels wise, but often it is just another form of delay. And delay keeps your life exactly where it is. Time passes either way. The only difference is whether your actions are moving with it or not. Your life is not shaped by occasional motivation or rare bursts of effort. It is shaped by what you do every single day. Repetition builds patterns. Patterns build outcomes. That is the quiet architecture of your life. If your actions do not change, your results will not change. Not because you are incapable, but because you have not changed the pattern producing your current life. People often want a different outcome while preserving the same routine. They want a different future without a different structure. But life does not respond to wishes. It responds to patterns. Familiarity is one of the hidden forces that holds people back. It feels like comfort. It feels like stability. It feels safe. But comfort has a cost. You stay within known boundaries even when those boundaries are limiting. What is familiar feels safe, even when it is the thing keeping you stuck. Predictability can be mistaken for peace, but there is a difference between peace and stagnation. There is a difference between stability and being trapped in a cycle that never improves. That is why change fails in small moments, not big ones. It fails in micro choices. When you choose comfort over effort, when you return to old habits, when you avoid small discomfort, when you tell yourself that it does not matter. These choices seem small, but repeated daily, they define your direction. Your life is shaped by small repeated behaviors that either reinforce the old pattern or build a new one. Real change is not one big breakthrough. It is what you do consistently when nothing feels urgent and no one is watching. Change does not require perfection. It requires consistency. So your first step is simple. Interrupt the pattern. Break automatic behavior. Replace it with intentional action. Repeat it. In the beginning, it feels uncomfortable. The old way feels easy, not because it is better, but because it is familiar. The new way feels difficult, not because it is wrong, but because it is not yet established. But if you stay with it long enough, the new behavior becomes natural. There is an uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Every form of progress has a cost. Time, effort, discomfort. Yet many people want results without the process. They want discipline without being disciplined. They want consistency without staying consistent. If you avoid the price of progress, you will still pay a price. It will just take a different form. That price shows up as stagnation, missed opportunities, frustration, delay, and eventually, regret. The cost never disappears. It only shifts. Results take time. There is often a delay between effort and visible outcomes. During that time, it feels like nothing is working. That is where consistency matters most. Real results are built through repeated action over time. Not intensity, but continuity. And if you take one thing from this, let it be this. In the end, your life reflects not what you intend, but what you consistently do. So stop measuring progress by how much you think, plan, or imagine. Start measuring it by what you actually execute. Because thinking alone will never change your life. Action will. If this shifted your perspective, then do one thing right now. Identify your number one delayed action and start it.